Hello, you guys. If you are somebody who's been trying to enter the online health coaching space, but maybe there's a lot of fear coming up, whether it's your own fear of self-doubt and not being able to succeed in this space, or the fear of judgment from other people, wondering what they're going to think of you from friends or family, what they're going to think of you by pursuing this non-traditional career path. So whether you're an aspiring online health coach, or somebody who has already started their business and is struggling between the two jobs, this video is going to be for you because I think that you are going to be very inspired by my own story. I am Brittany. I am the creator of Paid in Paradise, where I help aspiring or struggling online health coaches make 5 to 10K months without needing thousands and thousands and thousands of followers. All you need is a passion and a story that you want to share with people. But before all of this, I was a very tired and burnt out high school teacher. So I quit. I left everything that I worked so hard for and put so much time in, and not to mention the thousands of dollars in, and I left it all behind to pursue online health coaching full time. So just a little backstory here. So when I got into teaching, I was very passionate about it. It was something that I really wanted to do, and I graduated during COVID. So in Canada, teaching is a great job. I don't know where any of you guys are from, but teaching is an incredible job. It's very financially secure. It's stable for the most part. Yes, there is shit, I think, with any school board and educational system. But anyways, for the most part, it is seen as a really, really great job. And up until COVID, there was no jobs available. So now COVID happens and all of these teaching spots became available. And I was just sitting there like, something in my heart was telling me not to apply. And I think in that moment, everyone was like, why are you not applying? Like, this is what you went to school for. This is what you're spending all this money for. And I was just like, there's something in my intuition that's telling me not to apply. And I think in that moment, I realized the reason that I wanted to be a teacher was because I knew it was a universal job. I knew that I could teach from anywhere in the world, and that would allow me to travel. And freedom to me was my number one value. So I picked a career path that supported that freedom. Then when it came time to actually get a job, I always wanted to teach in Australia. I actually never wanted to teach at home. So this opportunity presented itself and I turned it down and I said no. And this sort of triggered this whole personal development path of feeling very lost and stuck in what I wanted to do, didn't know what my purpose was. I felt a lot of judgment for not taking that teaching job when I couldn't really explain why. And I don't blame people for the judgment or just questioning like why I wouldn't take it because I couldn't really explain it myself. It was just an intuitive feeling. Long story short, after I got rejected probably 7 or 8 times from schools abroad, I was applying everywhere just to be able to leave during COVID and go teach and just start my job somewhere else. Kept getting so many rejection letters. So I'm sitting at home, I'm collecting unemployment, and I felt like a bum almost. Like I felt lazy, and I would never categorize myself as that. And as I said, I went down this personal growth path, started meditating, reading all these self-help books, and I realized, I wanted true freedom. I wanted life freedom. I wanted financial freedom. And without going into too much detail, because this is a long drawn out story, but I basically just started manifesting things over time. It was very wild. I got my last rejection letter from a school abroad, and this is at 1 a.m. I woke up and I was bawling my eyes out. This is like my one hope to be able to go travel, and I couldn't. So I'm like, universe, God, like, what are you doing to me? What the fuck is my path then if this isn't it? And I'm starting to scroll through TikTok and I come across this business coach and I'm like, what's a business coach? And I go down this rabbit hole and I was like, oh, she coaches fitness coaches. Like, what's a fitness coach? Because it wasn't big 5 years ago. Fitness coaching, health coaching, it wasn't really a thing in Canada. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. This sounds like something that I actually really align with. Like, I myself am an athlete. I love to work out. I love helping people. But nutrition was the one thing that I couldn't figure out. So I'm like, okay, fitness coaching, that's cool. So anyways, close my phone, go back to bed, wake up the next morning. I'm scrolling through Facebook and a nutrition coaching certification program comes up. And I was like, oh my God, this sounds perfect. This sounds exactly what I want to do. So I invest in this nutrition coaching. And as I'm taking this course, my friend randomly reaches out and she goes, hey, Brett, I saw you posted about the nutrition coaching. She's like, I don't know what you plan to do with that, but I have a friend who's a business coach that I think could really help you. And my immediate thought is like, girl, like I am not a business person. I've never done entrepreneurship courses. I know nothing about that. And then I was like, okay, but like, what am I going to do with this nutrition coaching? Like, I don't know how to like offer this to people or help people. Like, I don't have the systems in place or anything like that. Anyways, long story short, I hop on the phone. And after that hour phone call, it just changed my life. I was like, I need to do this no matter what it takes. So as I mentioned, guys, like I was collecting unemployment. I was $30,000 in school debt minimum, and I had no money. So she tells me, she's like, okay, it's going to be $8,000 for this program. I'm like, girl, what? Like $8,000. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to make this work. And I got super resourceful. I ended up maxing out my last credit card. And then I ended up getting a loan from the bank too. Luckily, I was granted one. And I decided to go all in on it and just start this new venture. At this time, because I was very, very broke, I ended up getting a call from the school board. And they asked me to go for an interview. And as much as my gut was like, don't do this, there was a part of me that was like, I feel like I would have just more comfort doing the fitness coaching if I had some sort of financial support. So I was like, okay, it doesn't hurt. Let's just go for the interview and see if I get the job. I go for the interview. I get the job. I start that following week. I'm like, holy shit. Okay, we're doing both, I guess. So I thought that supply teaching, I thought it was going to be, okay, you're in the school 3 to 4 days a week. I'm like, okay, I'll take the other days and I'll work on my business. They were very short-staffed, so I ended up having to work 5 days a week. They would not let me take a single day off, and I ended up working 16-hour days between the teaching and between my online business because I was still in the process of building it. So after a few months, I was extremely burnt out. When we were just online, it was doable, but then when I had to go into this school, I became a different person. I just felt depleted. I was tired all the time. As I mentioned, I was just so burnt out, struggling with brain fog, and I just started not feeling like myself. I was asking for days off literally every week and kept getting denied. And I would say that is the biggest downfall of, I don't even just want to say the education system. I would just say in general in North America, people are so reactive to mental health rather than preventative towards it. So it's like if I came back and I was like, I have depression, I'm sure they'd be like, okay, yeah, have a week off. And here I am trying to be proactive with my mental health and ask for a day off because I was so burnt out and working those 16-hour days. And I would get sent a wordy email saying I am expected to be at work and my time off is denied. So it got to this point where I remember getting called in one day and running to the bathroom and just bawling. I didn't think I was going to get called in because what they like to do is call you in 2 minutes before your shift starts. And I just told my mom, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And she's like, well, don't make rash decisions. You don't want to burn any bridges or anything like that, but just think about it. So my thinking about it is let's book a trip. So I booked a trip to Arizona and I needed 1 day off. And I was gone for, I think it was 6 days, and it was over the holidays. So I asked them, I emailed them, and of course they're like, nope, you're expected to be at work. Your time off is denied. I'm like, okay, classic. I was like, well, I'm not going to be there. So do what you want with that information, but I'm not showing up to work that day. They're like, okay, well, we're going to have a meeting and whatever. So I call my union, I tell them what's going on. And I was like, I'm not going to work. Like I'm telling you right now. So there's nothing you could say or do that would get me to go there. So anyways, I end up taking this trip to Arizona and I'm just sitting there. I just hiked the Grand Canyon and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I was like, I have this business I'm building. I think at the time it was maybe bringing in like maybe $2,000 a month. It wasn't at this like very solidified state yet where I was like, okay, I could go all in and make good money and feel secure in that. But at the same time, I was like, what am I sacrificing in the process? Because sacrificing myself wasn't an option. So as I was at the Grand Canyon, I was like, fuck this. Went to my hotel, did my 2-week notice, and then emailed them from the Grand Canyon. And that was the day I decided to believe in myself and go all in on myself. So then a lot of people ask me, like, how did I know when the right time was to quit? Like, what was my motivating factor working between the two jobs? And I think number one, it was auditing how I felt with each job. So when I was working on my business, I felt so lit up and excited. And when I thought about going in to teach, I felt drained and miserable. And I was like, okay, how much time and energy am I giving to being drained and miserable in a job that I wasn't happy with? How much time and energy could I take from that and put into something that lights me up every day? Like how much happier, how much more fulfilled would I actually be? And then number 2 was I looked at my values. If freedom was my number 1 value, as I mentioned before, everything that I do and every decision that I make, it has to be in alignment with freedom. Working a 9 to 5 in my small hometown, like that to me, that doesn't represent freedom. I'm somebody that wants to travel. I want the spontaneity, and my online coaching business could do that. I could literally work from anywhere in the world if I wanted to. And then the third thing was everybody tells me entrepreneurship is personal development with a paycheck. And every step of the way I've been building my business now for the last 4 to 5 years, and every step of the way, I have never stopped working on myself. I always had to be my top priority. And for me to make the decision to leave, it took a lot of fucking courage, and it took a lot of self-worth and belief in myself that I could do it. Because at the time, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there was a lot of friends and family that, not that they didn't support me, but they just didn't get it. And to me, that felt like rejection. That felt like a lack of support. So I had to believe in myself when I thought that not a whole lot of people around me did. And that took a lot of personal growth work. It took a lot of letting go limiting beliefs that creeped in and would say I'm not good enough to do this, and me overcoming myself over and over again. And then if I'm being honest, I think the final straw was I had to get to a low enough point that made me quit. I had to get to the point of burnout where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So as I transitioned, I actually think the hardest part was the anticipation in making the decision. It wasn't actually the decision itself. I felt a lot of relief when I chose to go all in on my business and leave that world behind. There was a sense of mourning and grieving that I had to go through because, believe it or not, I actually love the teaching side of things. Like I love being with the students, and when I was supplying, like I loved that aspect of the student interaction and having them learn from me and creating just these presentations that I know would really get through to them. But I hated all the bullshit that went along with teaching. Like I hated the lesson planning, the marking, the administration, the fucking parents nowadays, like all of that. No. But there was a part of me that, I did have to mourn this life that I thought I was going to be living. But I realized like there are so many forms of teaching. Like this is teaching right here. I collaborate with a lot of people on podcasts, YouTube videos. I do presentations for my clients every week. Like it is just a different form of teaching. So I would say though, my advice for somebody that's in this position or situation. So if you have a full-time job and you're trying to navigate your online health coaching business, I would say there is no need to quit and go all in. And you hear all of this like rah motivation from these bro coaches that are like, you just need to pull the plug. You need to quit. You need to focus all your energy and attention into your business. For me, that actually created a lot of financial scarcity when I felt like I didn't have income coming in. But if you can build up your recurring revenue where you're seeing like, okay, I know for sure over the next few months, like I'm making minimum $2,000-$3,000, like that is good enough. Because if you do take the time and energy that you're putting into your 9 to 5 and you do direct that into your business, naturally that will increase your revenue. So I would say like you don't need to make the decision overnight to quit your job and go all in, but just have it in the back of your mind and you'll know through your intuition when you're ready to leave. And you just have to expect that along the way, people might judge you, people might not be there for you when you thought that they were, but you're just creating space for so many amazing people to come through. Like I'll never forget my ex telling me like, who would even pay you for that? I'm like, okay, let me just go scale my business and prove you wrong. And I think that's sort of the best thing that you can do is when you do believe in yourself, you just know you're going to be successful. There's this inherent feeling that you just know. So when that time is right, guys, go all in on yourself, your business. And I promise like the best things are going to come from it because the greatest risks do lead to the greatest rewards. So if you're in this exact same spot, you're scared to take the leap, comment below. But also I do have a free health coach starter kit. This will give you the exact exact beginning steps to just get your business on the ground if you are at the beginning stages of your coaching business. And if you are a few steps ahead and you are ready to dive right into 5 to 10K months and start living your dream life and traveling the world like I've been able to do since quitting my teaching job, click the link below to Paid in Paradise, and this is my signature course that will help you get there. Go live your dreams, guys.